Cheyenne. I'm listening to a podcast, Black Lodge Trivia Night. I've never heard so many game aspirations in my life. Got my dick pills. I'm ready. It's my cholesterol medication. But I'm not going to tell the audience that. All right. I think that means we've started. That was the cold open that we usually get from Patrick. Welcome back to Black Lodge Trivia Night. We are getting back to something that we have long neglected and probably should not have. This is episode 2 of Bonfire Walk With Me. And it's Matt and I sharing our love for the Souls series. And tonight what we're going to do is, the first episode we sort of gave like a broad overview that it's been a while now, but we used sort of like a Cosmo quiz that was Souls related that we found that we, answered. Yeah. And we got it to sort of do like a sort of a general discussion about the Souls series a little bit as a whole. But tonight we're going to get a little bit more specific. And I don't know if this is going to be something that turns into like we do every single thing literally. Oh, it is. Okay. It's just been promised. But we are going to start this episode and hopefully go for a little while talking about the first Souls game. And that's Demon Souls. Originally came out on the PlayStation 3, I think in 2008. I should probably have checked that. I played it originally on the PS3. Matt, did you get it when it first came out?
No, I imported a copy into the PS4 life cycle. Like, I think it had to be after 2014, but still, that was the only way to play, or maybe, was there a game of the year? Anyways, doesn't really matter. I imported it at some point. I never played it. And so it's worth noting that unlike Bloodborne and Dark Souls 3 and Dark Souls and Elden Ring and most of Sekiro, I don't think I'm forgetting any other. I don't think there's any others. That's a Dark Souls 2 stab for the nerds at home. I've not completed this one. I'm in an active play of it for the first time. So this is all new to me. I think I'm not like, I don't have like cool background knowledge that Art may have. But we're starting at the beginning and there's some really cool stuff to talk about. And I've now played through that opening world several times because it's so cool. But no, I was a PS5 Demon Souls adopter.
And was that literally the first time you cracked it out? Like, you've never looked at the PS3 version?
My brother played it. Played it. And I vaguely remember like going into his room and him explaining the world tendencies and explaining like random drops needed for critical things. Yeah. It's like, whoa.
Okay. So let me ask you this question. I will say, and I think this sort of came up in that first episode, we were sort of talking about which ones are our favorite. And I said, there's an argument I could make that Demon Souls is my favorite Souls game. I'm not saying it's the best if you had to objectively tier rank them, but it is, there's something there. It has a special place in my heart. Let me ask you, you had your choice of Souls games to jump into recently and you chose Demon Souls. Do you mind if I ask why?
Because it was the one I hadn't beat. One, I wanted to play on the PS5, and so I couldn't play Dark Souls 3 unless I played my PS3 copy or hooked on the computer, and then I did on Dark Souls 2. Anyways, I just like it's a thing that's not done. So I was playing Bloodborne the other night, and I was having a blast. I was like, I should really get back to Demon Souls. But I had just finished a boss that really challenged me, which is saying something for Demon Souls because the bosses, for the most part, are not hard so far.
No.
There's a few that have certainly given me a run for my money, and then I hit World 2-2.
Right.
And we'll talk about that in detail so much, but that may be one of my least. And we can talk about this more later. But one of my least favorite Souls experiences is just World 2-2. And I knew how much people held it in high regard. And then further, I was having this thought today. Demon Souls goes on to shape the whole series.
Yes.
Not only in terms of gameplay, but from encounters, traps, patches. I actually learned this is not the first appearance of patches, by the way.
No. Kingsfield?
Armored Core.
Armored Core. Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it's all derivative of Demon Souls. Which is why, as a surprise topic, I want to get on my soapbox and say it's complete bullshit to write off Dark Souls 3 as a bad game because it's derivative and doesn't do anything new. Because guess what? None of them did anything new other than Bloodborne.
Shit!
I'm just kidding.
I wasn't recording. I didn't record that. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, no.
No, I've got that. It's going to be entered into evidence. You weren't Mirandized, so I don't know what happens, but...
So we could have that discussion someday, but really I think I want to give credit to these games are so... I don't want to say formative because I played them as a grown-ass man, but I love them so much. I think they probably round out at least 3 of my top 5 games of all time. I feel like I'd pick 2 more just to some variety, but I have to play through the one that they all find their roots in, and find their roots in a meaningful way. I don't need to go back and play Kingsfield.
Right.
You're right.
And I'll say, I have not played Kingsfield, so I can't say I can't acknowledge the evolution from that. But I will say, I also imported a copy of Demon Souls 3 from Japan, and it was the reason why I bought a PlayStation 3. And it honestly... So my first... Maybe I said this in the first video. I saw that GameSpot gave it Game of the Year, and I was like, okay, I've seen screenshots, and I know it looked kind of interesting, but to give it Game of the Year seems like I've never heard of this thing. So then it got me sort of going into my rabbit holes, which I tend to do. And I got to tell you, even just reading about doing the research, do I want to import this? Do I want to get PlayStation 3? I've never been so grabbed by something so immediately in a long time as I was with Demon Souls on the PlayStation 3. And I think maybe that can sort of kick off the thing, because I can tell you screenshots and this and that, but you go through the opening tutorial area, and it's kind of you're sort of going through the halls of a ruined castle. Go into little courtyards. There's pretty typical enemies as they do their standard thing of leaving little notes on the ground to explain the mechanics. And then you come, I think it's called the Vanguard Demon or something, and it sort of establishes the pattern in Souls games where you're kind of meant to die in the tutorial. I think... Because you do in Bloodborne too, right? You die to the werewolf. I mean, I know you can beat it, but... You don't have to, but yet you're intended to die to the werewolf, and then you go to the Hunter's Dream and get your weapons. So right off the bat, it establishes, a pattern that where it's the tutorial teaches you the game and then beats you to death.
You know what doesn't do that?
What's that?
Because it's not derivative.
Oh.
Dark Souls 3.
I guess that's true. I mean... Right, because you're not intended to die to...
you have to beat that first boss.
Yeah, the Judic.
Yeah. Garunder.
Yes, I'm botching the name. That's true. So I think what we should do is pivot to how Dark Souls 3 may be the most innovative title. You know what? We'll save that. We'll get there. We've got a lot of games to talk about, but we will get there. Okay, so... And right away, so I get the game, and I'm I'm not shaking with anticipation, but it's something I've looked forward to for so long, and I finally pop it in, and you get sort of the wah, 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 that kind of music, and it's kind of a cool cutscene.
On the first day.
Yeah, on the first day, and then the dragon swoops in, carrying the bodies in its claws. And everything about, the art direction, it's so, for me personally, I don't know what it is, it just clicked immediately. It was so evocative, and it's such an interesting... You know what, we're going to talk about the Nexus, and this is, I was about to say things that I think could apply to a Nexus. So you do the whole tutorial, you die, you show up at the Nexus, you're immediately introduced to a number of NPCs. Maiden in Black is the main one. She sort of welcomes you. Sitting right there is what becomes a staple of Souls games, the Crestfallen Warrior. You've got Stockpile Thomas, who's going to hold your shit, but he's also got a little bit of a sword.
Guess what his job is? It's you have this amazing world, and like so much cool shit. But like Demon Souls does have a little bit of the most disappointing names. Like some of the boss fights, like I haven't fought them yet, but unfortunately for me, a lot of Demon Souls has already been spoiled, and I don't think there's any way to protect against that. It is what it is. But just like some of them, like what is it, like Filthy Colossus or something like that?
Dirty
like
Colossus,
Dirty Colossus. Like that's what I'm sure the Japanese translation is better, but just. My name is Stockpile Thomas, and you know what I'm here to do? I'm here to stockpile your stuff for you.
Right. Nobody's stealing it. But to whatever credit,
actually,
like
Stockpile's a kind of piece of shit. Sorry, but keep going.
Yes, and we'll get to that because I was about to say he has a little bit of story, and it's not a good one, as is the case with a lot of Souls. There's a reason why VaatiVidya's Prepare to Cry is so immense, because like everything about these. What's that?
No, I'm laughing in agreement.
Yeah, it's everything is so heartbreaking. But yeah, you've got Blacksmith Baldwin, you've got the Monumental, you've got I mentioned the Maiden in Black. So you arrive at the Nexus, and you get this sweeping shot of like just this massive statue, with the sword pointed down, or maybe the statue's upside down, so the sword is actually upright, but it's pointed at the ground, and like there's this sort of liquid pool and like spiral staircases, like a DNA like going around, the outsides of the walls. And it's just the most striking, in my limited, ignorant take. Your armor set, if you get the classic knight, is like this fluted classic Arthurian Western armor set. And then for me, it was the first time I'd sort of encountered this art style that was sort of like surreal and slightly nightmarish. And to me, and this is what might be, it's sort of what I epitomize, like sort of more like Japanese style video game art to lean into, like sort of these more fantastical sort of putting things together that don't go together, like to create like a little bit of a disconcerting effect. And the Nexus just hits you with it. And it's beautiful, especially now that, and you can see it on the PlayStation 5. But what was your first reaction to seeing like the next? I mean, because you're not coming into it fresh.
And that's an important thing to, I kind of, when we decided we were going to do this and we were going to talk about, tonight we're talking about 1-1, the first zone, the first world you can go to, and we're going to get there eventually, but going back to that was actually more beneficial, because by the time I get to Demon Souls, I spent hundreds of hours in Bloodborne, Elden Ring, and Dark Souls 3.
Yeah.
And so it's like, oh, this is my hub world. This is my Firekeep Shrine.
Right.
And I need to talk to these NPCs, and I never took it in. And I want to say it wasn't until, so I played Demon Souls, I don't know, last time we did this a few months ago, and then I kind of paused on it. And now I'm back to it. I think this is when I realized, or I completely forgotten, like, oh, there's something up with this floor.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, so it's just like, it took me a minute. It's like, I need to pause and appreciate this and appreciate who these characters are.
Right.
And just take it a little bit slower, because I just, like, Firelink's Shrine is just like little cave hidey holes. I'm talking about Dark Souls 3. Like, everyone's in their little spot, and there's some cool stuff. I do like the thrones and how each throne has its own character. We're not talking about Dark Souls 3. But I don't walk around like, whoa, this is impressive.
Right.
And the Nexus is incredibly impressive, and it's so vast that it's frustrating. But it's also such a daunting welcome to players.
Yeah.
So when you played on the PS3, was the Crestfallen Knight, was he shaded blue?
Yes, he did have a blue hint to him that I remember. Yeah.
Because this game, I'm trying to think of it like through the lens of the first Souls player. This game does some hand holding, but it does hand holding in obscure ways. So like one of the most impressive things about 1-1 is it's, the joke is the real Dark Souls starts here.
Yeah.
The real tutorial of Demon Souls is 1-1.
Yes. So
but there's no explicit to that. So like the Crestfallen Knight really has to like point you to this waystone. Because otherwise you have no idea.
Right.
One of them's destroyed. The other 4 don't work. And you have no idea what to do.
Right.
And it's a really daunting but also very impressive central area. Yeah.
I should say, and I probably should have said this up front, like this isn't going to be like, we're going to spoil stuff. We're not doing like we're just talking about it. So like, this is not the place to come
I don't think we're adding anything. There's no way I'm not adding anything new. Maybe you have some weird obscure trivia, but
no,
people before us have paved this groundwork.
Yeah. And I can link to some of like, if you want step-by-step processes, there's like Fighting Cowboy, there's audio versions with Bonfireside Chat, but we can anyway. But so I will say, we're just going to talk about it because we love it. And because we're, white men of average experience. So let's get this done.
Check. Ding.
Yeah. So anyway, what was your first hub area? What was the first Souls game that you played?
Oh, Bloodborne, Hunter's Dream.
Okay. Did the Hunter's Dream...
I maybe missed... No, I did the tutorial of Dark Souls one day.
Okay.
Dark Souls 1.
Okay.
And I want to correct myself. That's what I imported. I imported the Dark Souls with all the expansions from the UK.
Got it. Okay. There we go.
That's what I imported. My brother had Demon Souls. I'm 100% certain of it. I never imported Demon Souls. As soon as you started talking about it, I was like, yeah, I got it. And it had the expansions. I was like, wait, Demon Souls didn't have expansion. Anyways.
Right.
So my first true hub world was Bloodborne.
Okay. And because what I'm describing, like literally the Nexus stopped me in my tracks with the mix of art design and it's just awe-inspiring. Did the Hunter's Dream, which has a real aesthetic, did it sort of make you go like, whoa, like even if it's like the woman, isn't there some kind of like musical? I'm trying to remember. It's been a while. And
the doll's there and she's not animated yet.
Yeah.
So the doll's there and there's these headstones and there's this very creepy house. I think maybe it would have been if Central Yarnum had not just taken my breath away.
Right. Okay.
Or everything else you see in like the videos and stuff, because there's no way I got past that dog when the first time I played Bloodborne.
Right.
I guarantee it. So yeah, it was, but not. No, I wouldn't say it was like breathtaking. I mean, okay. I love the Hunter's Dream, but
it's. Well, we can talk about that too at some point. Yeah, for me, the Nexus was this beautiful shock and awe drop into the deep end of the pool, and so that was sort of what I really appreciated about it. And it doesn't give you any guidance because we're going to get to the guidance in a minute. But there was one other thing that really stood out to me at the time that I first played it, and this is before I read things or knew any lore or anything. But one of the NPCs that starts in the Nexus at the beginning of the game, I think is called the Disciple of God.
Yeah.
And right there in the name of the NPC, the Disciple of God, not the gods, not the elven god of wrath, and she says, like, has God forsaken us?
How has this happened? Has God abandoned us for King Alant, failing to show proper respect? Oh, Umbasa.
What I didn't understand at the time is at the end of a lot of the things that they talk about, they say Umbasa. And my understanding is that Umbasa is the name of the god. And that's how they sort of, like we say, like in Jesus' name or whatever. I didn't know that at the time. So suddenly, not that I said like, oh, this is a reference to, Middle Ages. Not that it was that necessarily, but I found it really interesting that it was capital G God that they discussed, because I was like, because when you, again, mixing in the real hardcore West, like it's undeniably got Western influences. It's undeniably got like Eastern artistic choices. To have her just say, why has God like abandoned us? It really caught me off guard, because I was like, is this sort of like a subtext that I absolutely was not expecting, but could make it really interesting? And the answer is probably not, but it did. I was like, that's fascinating that they didn't mask it or put it into a plural or qualify it as the God of the Mist. They just said God. And I was like, ooh, is this? And then, because I didn't know, I was like, is this meant to be like, because you look at as we get to it in a second, like Boletaria's palace, it's kind of looks like a castle. Like, I mean, it's obviously exaggerated in a lot of ways, but it's not fantastical in the way that maybe other structures in later games, even maybe in later levels in Demon Souls.
Oh, but sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it's fantastical for a castle. Especially the pass. Like, if you turn around from when you first zone in it, it really, I think it's like, well, this would not exist. But then if you try to compare it to something like 3.2, which is like all kinds of fucked up, and I love, but it's certainly toned down, but
it felt grounded.
Yeah, so is Nexus your favorite kind of central hub?
So someday I would like to, I put it, for the listeners how the sausage get made, we make little threads in Discord about, I did put as an episode tier ranking the hub worlds. So I won't spoil it, but I will say it does have advantages because it was my first, and it is in my mind unique in certain ways. But we can get
certainly unique.
Yeah, but we can get into.
It's also, and I'll save it. I won't spoil it. To just reiterate that every game is derivative of Demon Souls. It's also Hunter's Dream is very Nexus-esque. Because it has the headstones,
right,
which are not too different than the archstones instead of just having one central bonfire. Right. I don't think some of the exploration you do in the Nexus happens after 1.1, but I'm just going to say it now.
Yeah.
It's total bullshit. On my third character or whatever I've made in this game, I should know where to find the monumental. Like, you have to go upstairs, then you go up another set of stairs, then you have to go in a hallway, and then you turn left down a smaller subset of stairs to go talk to this individual that really you just talked to the one time, as far as I know, and you get a super critical cutscene.
Oh yeah,
and that's it.
Yeah.
And he looks like the other million statues next to him. It's so bullshit.
Of which there are 2 floors of. I mean, now they put you on the right floor to begin with, but there are 2 floors of these almost identical corpses. This one's got like a slight candle in front of him that he keeps lit, and it's a beautiful touch.
It is. It is a gorgeous. It's such a gorgeous set piece. All of it. It's effective, but this game is at some points. It is lonely and vast, and I think that's effective.
Yes.
It didn't need to be here. Like 3.1 is such a lonely world.
Yes.
And it works really well. But here it's just frustration. Like, where the fuck is that guy I have to go talk to?
And you know what's so crazy is that, I think this was in the original PlayStation 3 version. In the PlayStation 5 version, at least, they give you like a series of cutscenes to march you right to.
Oh yeah, doesn't fucking matter.
It doesn't work. Like, I still can't. I still ran past him. I still turned left when I should have turned right. Yeah.
Anyway. I made 2 characters fresh to like get 1.1. I did it like fresh, just like, let's go through it. And then I found like a checklist online. It's like, let me make sure I get every single item in 1.1 just to, and there's not that many hidden things, but there are some cool stuff. Nothing I hadn't seen, but like on that second character, I should have like, I knew I was like, I'm going to pay attention because this guy's a pain in my ass to find. Like, I spent so much time. It's just ridiculous. And it's so high up. It's just like, who's walking up here to talk to this? Like, he's the last of his kind.
Yep.
And like, well, good for him, but like, you're awfully lonely up here, buddy.
That's right. You could come downstairs. Everybody's down there.
Do you don't like, I'm just going to ask, like, am I supposed to go talk to the monumental again at some point? Or is that basically it?
I think that's it.
Good God.
That's it. Yeah. That's as we do this, I'm sure I'll get refreshed, but I do not recall speaking to him past the first one. So after you, and again, you don't have to do that until after 1.1. 1.1 is sort of an interesting. So let's get into 1.1. So, if you take the hint from the Crestfallen Warrior, hey, go through this stone. You can't level up. You can't do anything. All you can do is go to 1.1. You arrive at 1-1, and you're presented with this vista. Like, first of all, a dragon swoops down and crashes across.
Scene, and yeah, you get
sweet. It's a great cutscene. A red dragon swoops down, crashes into a bridge, much like is reused in Dark Souls 1 and probably other games.
Look at that.
And then, but not Dark Souls 3. Oh, maybe it is. I don't know.
But, there's so many fucking dragons in Dark Souls 3. Are you kidding me?
Okay. So, and you're presented with Boletaria Palace. That's World 1-1.
Can I just remind you that dragon's mouth is like, it is so jam-packed full of bodies that it's almost comical.
Yeah, it's almost like, if you dump the Pringles and they all slide out into your mouth.
It's exactly
and you're like, no, I'm going to get these all in.
But shit, is it effective?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So then after that, you're on this bridge, and before you is Boletaria Palace, the castle. I think the Gates of Boletaria is what 1-1 is called. And before you stands like an immense gate that's completely shut down, and on either side of the gate are 2 towers. Now, just to briefly recap the level, again, we're just going to spoil. The idea is that you go to the left, you fight your way through some doors and entries to ascend the outer wall. Once you get to the outer wall, there's kind of 3 directions you can go. You can sort of follow a path around where you encounter a red knight. Behind the red knight is a chapel, which is inhabited by...
Chapel's gorgeous.
It's stunning, especially in the place.
And you see it from the floor. Like, it sits up on the wall.
Yeah.
And I just before you get too far, that cutscene ends, and I just stand there, and no matter what direction you look, dead ahead, you have the gate, and you have the crest of Boletaria, and it's on the wall. The towers are burning next to it, and you have this beautiful crest. I don't know if you're going to get to this after the recap of the level, but you can just stand there and just spin 360. Yes. And then if you go backwards, it's a gate, but it's in this mountain pass that is like my wet dream for siege fantasy warfare. I think I've talked about here about this book called Warrior. Okay. It's a fantasy book. It's amazing, and it's entirely about a siege. It's the best siege book I've ever read, and that's what I imagine here. It's so good. And then over, on the left, you have this executioner's pit and these towers, and they're up on the left, which is it's towering over the executioner's pit, this beautiful chapel.
Yes.
Sorry. I just that opening image, no matter what direction you look, is amazing.
Yes. Now, I will say there are people, and I don't know if I'll recall to link to this, there are people that actually don't appreciate the graphical changes in the PlayStation 5 version. It's not the up-resing and the beautiful textures, but they did make aesthetic changes that some people don't like. And so some of those, the flags that represent Boletaria, some of those might not have been there in PlayStation 3. I don't want to get into in the original they changed this, because I'm not going to remember, but I will absolutely agree with you that as a first impression, even on the PlayStation 3 version, I was continued to be stunned. I walked into the Nexus and I was just blown away, and I get through that and you get acclimated, and then they drop you in front of this gate, and my character feels so small.
Yes.
And everything, the scale, again, maybe I'm just playing the wrong video games, but for me, this was all new, and I was just immediately wonderfully overwhelmed by the scale of everything I was about to encounter.
This is not an original thought of mine, but From Software is incredibly successful at skyline shots and epic shots.
Yeah.
Dark Souls 3 is chock full of it, and I love it. There's so many just holy shit, look at this. But the first for me was Bloodborne. And that's a similar thing. You love Knights and Dragons, but this was gothic flying buttresses. And Dark Souls 1 has some original stuff as well, but really the PS5, as far as I've played, this is the best looking PS5 game.
Oh,
and I'm not crazy balls deep into PS5 stuff, but anyways,
It's easily for me the best looking PlayStation 5 game I've played. I know people talk about like Ratchet and Clank, or Astrobot. Yeah. It's different, but yeah. So you get to the gates of Boletaria, and again, it's one of those things where like it very much, in my mind, even though the scale is immense, it has a very grounded Western vibe to it. So it reminded me, going back to the Disciple of God saying God, it sort of was making me like, just what's going on with this world. But so you fight your way up like the left wall, get to the top, you can get to the chapel. Inside the chapel is old King Duran. Now to get into the chapel, you have to do a couple of things. You have to get past a red knight, which you can cheese, but I think this is meant to be like a roadblock. It's meant to tell you, hey,
yeah, for sure. Yeah, the red knight kicks your ass. Yeah.
Yeah, not yet. Then you can go. So that's one way. The second way you can go is, I described like there are the two towers on either side of the massive gate. You can go into the left tower, work your way down, and unlock it, creating your first shortcut. And then once you do that, you can go through a little fog gate to go a little deeper into the outer areas of the palace to work your way around to the right side tower, go down, unlock it. And at that point, you've unlocked the two towers and you've unlocked the main gate to give you access to 1-1's boss, which is the Phalanx. So what I want to say, and again, we're not going to go into step by step, but I want to say that some people talk about, let me establish some context. Were you a Nintendo kid at all? That like, were you too young for the Nintendo Entertainment System, Super Mario?
No, and we only had NES. So I went straight from NES then we got an NES top loader, and then missed the whole Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo, and finally got a PS1 maybe a couple years before the PS2 came out.
Got it. Okay. So you have experienced firsthand at the time, not like going back on an emulator, like the genius that is the first level of Super Mario Brothers. Like people say World 1-1 is one of like the best intro levels Super Mario Brothers like ever made. I would argue that Demon Souls 1-1 Gates of Boletaria, for what it's doing, its role in the game is basically as good. It's one of the best intro levels I've ever experienced.
I think it even gets... So one, and I think I want to like, there's so much more striking imagery that I want to talk about that, like, if you took that alone, what's interesting here is most of that applies on the exterior. I don't love the interior stuff here as it stands on its own. Like, you're fighting through a castle, fine, I'm in like a barracks. But when you realize, or if you're like me and you hear it talked about, and then you start piecing together exactly what 1-1 accomplishes and what it accomplishes for the next 17 years of training you to play Soulsborne games. It's just like, they are fucking geniuses.
Yeah.
Every core component of playing a Soulsborne game well is on demonstration here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's subtle. There's no, you have the training area, but you get to a blue knight. So red knights are harder than blue knights. The blue knight, the first time I played, whooped my ass because there's crossbowmen behind him.
Yep.
And if you go that way and just knock them out, that's easier. But if you go towards this blue knight, like, you're probably going to keep getting pushed back. And all of a sudden you're going to aggro more enemies.
Yeah.
But it also trains you like, hey, this blue knight has a shield. And you can't just mash R1 willy-nilly. Like, you need to... And he's going to punish you. I mean, like, we could go through so many things of like, oh yeah, this piece, it's setting you up to show you this. Oh, yeah. These 5 fire bombs, it's showing you there's more ways to tackle this game than whatever that starting equipment is. Like, it is the real training grounds for the next 17 years.
Yeah.
That's fucking brilliant.
Yeah. And, we briefly mentioned the tutorial, like, it tells you what the controls are, but it doesn't tell you the mindset or the tactical approach that you need. And you couldn't have said it better. Like this game, in a good way, a lot of people say these games are not fair, but you're not meant to approach them fairly. You're meant to think like, can I use a firebomb? Are those barrels explosive? Can I lure it to its death? You're meant to like,
and it shows you. Here's an example: like those fire barrels are explosive. I should utilize that, and it just shows you a guy with the fire sword charging forward, and he runs right into the barrels and blows up, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
And when you're dense like me, you don't pick up on that. Now, I came to it from so many other Soulsborne games that I know the boulder trap.
Right.
I know the don't pull and run into 5 guys at once, even if they're simple dreglings, they're going to whoop your ass.
Right.
And if you get greedy and you get caught, they do some damage. And this game punishes you for being greedy and for being too reckless. You can do it, but it humbles you. And so I didn't have that lens, but like now that you see it, it's just like, holy shit.
Right.
This is an instruction manual.
Yes. And okay. And so let me justify what I was saying. Cause obviously it's not that I want to disrespect World 1-1 of Super Mario Brothers, but Super Mario Brothers, the conceit that it's trying to train you on, and I don't mean this in a bad way because that game is one of the best video games ever made, but it's simple. Like what Demon Souls has to train you on is not just the basic mechanics of a fight, but it's like, you have to get good. You have to, whatever that is for you, you have to do it. And World 1-1 is the first time they're showing you what to do.
You have to learn tactics. You have to learn, and this maybe is not true in any other Soulsborne game. You have to learn alternative approaches.
Yes.
Because from what I've seen, the bosses I've played, let's just say like Dark Souls 3 is, for good or worse, so many of its fights just come down to multi-phase, super fast, super butt-clenching combat. And already, with what I've played, there's so much puzzle element to the Dark or Demon Souls bosses, and some of them are explicitly puzzles.
Absolutely.
And navigations. And like, we don't have to talk about those future bosses, but you have to adapt and not... There's one boss you couldn't melee down as far as I know, but I don't know. But like, so it's just like, it teaches you, don't approach this with your sword and board out. Find a different way to do this.
Yeah.
And so that's what I was going to say. You're right. Mario is this, all right, we're going to teach you this. Yeah. Souls is going to teach you this. Souls is also going to teach you to not run after shiny things, which is just the best. The pit with the fucking like trap that you just die in. Like, what a brilliant. Like, don't be greedy, you son of a bitch. So it's going to teach you that. It's going to teach you tactics. It's going to teach you patience. It's going to teach you alternative dispute resolution. It's just it's so good.
Yeah, and it's gonna and it's not just that, but it also it's gonna so this is what I think is the hardest thing that it teaches you, is that it teaches you patience isn't the right word. It's a resiliency that this game is like, look, we're not going to take it easy on you. And again, this might be because I was growing up playing the wrong games. I didn't play the Kingsfield game, so maybe they all do that, but this was sort of the big relaunch if you weren't playing the Kingsfield games on the PlayStation 2. So it had to teach you, like, look, like you're used to being spoon-fed a little bit in video games sometimes, at least here in the West, like having played like Oblivion. And,
or Call of Duty. This is like prime. Yeah.
And we're not going to do that. And you have to almost rewire yourself as a gamer. Rewire your expectations as a gamer going forward if you want to enjoy it. And you don't have to, but we're not going to apologize for it, and we're not going to meet you halfway. So either you get on board with what we're trying to do, and 1-1's showing you that, and you have to determine based on 1-1, am I willing to do it?
Yeah. I agree 100%. And I think 1-1 also, on top of all of that, it shows you so much, but so much is off limits. The executioners, I haven't even been down there. I just know at some point, and I know about world tendencies and stuff, I know that's going to open up to me at some point, and I'll go down there, and I can't wait to see. But it's showing you the items, and you see the fucking executioner stand and all this stuff, and I can't wait to go down there. At the same time, Another amazing set piece is the like nesting quarters of the two dragons.
Yes.
And they're there, and it's like, holy shit, there's dragons, and I could go up and slap them on the butt if I wanted. But more importantly, there's items here, meaning at some point or somehow or some way, you want to come back here. And so this game is showing you, and some of that you learn the hard way. One area you literally cannot get to. The other one, you walk up there, you're gonna be dragon food. But It's showing you like, it's the same thing as the Red Knight.
Yeah.
Even if you beat the Red Knight, you get there and this door is locked.
It's locked.
And unless you're a sick bastard like me, you're not getting that key for a long time. Okay. And so like, look at this. Remember this. You're not ready yet. Prepare to die, and then die, get better, do some things, and come back. And this game's going to reward you for that. And that's lost in some future Dark Souls stuff. I think Bloodborne actually does a really good job of it, like rewarding. You go back to areas that are apparently off limits to you. I mean, just right away, Yosefka's clinic.
Right.
That is so much deeper, and that one's way more hidden. But like, you go, and you don't. What's crazy is you don't have to go to You could miss that entirely.
Yeah.
Yosefka's clinic's completely optional.
Yeah.
And so, anyways, I just think it, like, on top of all that, it's also showing you this game is so deep and it rewards exploration, and some of that exploration isn't there for you yet.
Yeah, yeah. And it also teaches you that if you run across a bridge, a dragon's going to come down and incinerate you.
Yeah, which also, again, every other Soulsborne is derivative of that. It's funny. I've been all hot and bothered about the Dark Souls 3 thing, and I just thought of another moment where, there was a comment that like Dark Souls 3 uses the chop down the bridge trope too often, the like rope bridge.
Yeah, okay.
But it's like, well, fuck it, Demon Souls did it first.
That's true. Yeah,
with the bodies and stuff, but. Yeah, it's when you start to look at 1-1 in that lens, and then I just think thematically, I like World 1 as a whole. Through I've not gone to 1-4 yet, so I've only played through 1-3. As 3 set pieces, I love it because honestly, the insides of 1-1 are fine. Like it's nothing to write home about.
So I agree, and also I will say, because it was creating this extremely grounded experience for me, that I was, to me, that's like that's a benefit, not a problem. The fact that it's kind of this bland castle interior, I was like, again, this feels very grounded in a way I wasn't expecting. But you are completely correct that it's I think uninspired by design, if that makes sense.
Design, I love it. It's more like just playing through. Oh, Dregling there. Okay, I don't know. Anyway, it's still great. That'd be a little thing, but
yeah. But I also want to just point out, and again, there's people that are able to speak to this much more fluently than I ever could. But it's I find interesting the Drenglings versus, because there's actual human guards still in the castle guard is still there. And
which was a little like woe, not like super woe to me, because Dark Souls 3 feels lived in, but any human in Bloodborne is hidden inside, and you only ever interact with them through, there's a handful, obviously, you only interact with them through a window. And it's some time till you really see a human out on the streets. Whereas here, this is very much an alive place. And I think you made a comment that it feels, I think it was your playthrough, Art, where you said the interesting thing about Demon Souls is it feels like you're in a world on the brink of collapse, as opposed to one that's already collapsed.
Mm-hmm. I do think that, yeah. It wouldn't surprise me if I said that. Yeah.
And I think that's interesting, especially as someone who worked backwards to it. Now that you may not have like thought that going from Demon Souls to Dark Souls, right? But is this like, because Bloodborne's very similar. Like Bloodborne, as you start the game, is not there yet. Like there's still this sense of this can be saved, whereas Dark Souls is so much we're done.
Yes, and Dark Souls 3 in particular, especially when you add in the DLC, like it couldn't be more. This is like the heat death of the universe. We're at that point,
right?
Yeah, Demon's Souls does feel like they're still trying to put up a fight because the positioning,
especially Boletaria. I mean, Boletaria is braced for invasion. Every element of that world is defensively minded.
Yes. Right. Yeah. So we haven't talked about, we probably should, the core idea of Demon's Souls is basically there's a King Allant, there's these monumentals, there's the old one who is like this sort of evil being that feeds on souls. The old one sort of does bad things. The monumentals get it to sort of slumber and they park it underneath the Nexus, which they explain all in the cutscenes. This is part of what the monumental cutscene explains to you. But then King Allant's like, yeah, but maybe we want to delve into Souls magic again, and tries to reawaken the old one, and you're there to try and get it to go to sleep. That's what the Maiden in Black wants you to do. And the Boletaria Palace is the palace of King Allant, who caused all this problem. Now, when he did all this, the unintended consequence was it created this mist that's covering the land, and then it basically turns people into monsters, zombies, some demonic, awful form of what it once was. And so, like you were saying, Matt, this castle is defensive minded. Like, this is the last stand before it gets to the king, and he's not going to let that happen. So when you're on the outer brinks of the World 1-1, it's Drenglings. As I said, you go up left and you get to like the bridge with the Red Knight. So there's a Blue Knight and a Red Knight. They're both protecting the way to Old King Doran, in a sense. And there's a couple of human guards there. And you go through the door and you go a little deeper into the interior of the castles, and it starts to be a mix. And then as you get closer to like the last stages, that opens up the gate to the Phalanx, which is the boss. That's going to allow you to progress deeper into the castle to breach the fences. It's all humans. That bridge where the dragon incident, it's all humans. And it's not just like 3. It's like 12.
It's all humans and one particular diligent, or maybe not diligent, persistent dragon. One dragon, 30 dudes.
Right. And he'll fry 28 of them. But
yeah, he will.
Yeah, and you sort of need that to happen. And so it's not just like, yeah, and again, I'm not the first person to say, there's a point to the enemy placement, but like it tells a story that as you get a little bit deeper, you're starting to cross that transition from the Drenglings already affected by the fog that's creeping in from that big wall in the the mountain pass, and the human guards still left trying to protect King Allant from whatever's coming. And again, it's just another one of those details where I was like, it's fine. No, I was just like, yeah, this is incredible. Like there's like this attention to detail. Like if you pay attention to this sort of world building storytelling, there's things to glean from it that I genuinely appreciate.
It took me coming back to this game, and maybe just because I'd spent time away from it, like I love the ham-fisted story of Dark Souls 3. Bloodborne, I think, is one of the best video game storytelling pieces, period, of all time.
Incredible.
And all of those are environmental storytelling. And what's interesting about Demon's Souls is they hadn't gone full bore into that environment storytelling yet. I mean, it's there, but even when you get the brooch from what's his name's daughter, I just Stockpile
Thomas.
I forgot his name. There's no lore description there, which that's they really start doing that later on. So I was missing that, but then I started to look at this as I don't necessarily need a storytelling link between 3.1 and 2.2 and 1.1. they are in their own very distinct stories, some with some subtle text, some with ham-fisted. I can't wait to play World 5. Like I know the gist. And so I'm really excited to experience that for the first time, and other Soulsborns have taken that kind of like, stop it, you're the bad guy.
Yeah.
Spoiler. Approach, but I'm ready for it. I'm ready to experience it again. So I've changed it, and so like now I'm going in and it's like, what is this section and what is this world trying to show me? Instead of just like, let's fucking bash and smash, baby, oonga boonga time. Like, because it's more subtle here, and
yeah.
Souls as a whole is very subtle storytelling, but Demon Souls is really like context clues, baby.
Yeah.
And there are ways to like get lore and stuff like that, but
yeah, and I will say, like, just really quickly, we mentioned Stockpile Thomas. His basic story is, I think he was sort of around the gates of Boletaria, and when the fog started to come, like, he fled, and I think he kind of left his wife and kid behind, maybe not 100% deliberately, but he's like, he just ran and didn't realize he outpaced them, I don't know what, and they didn't make it. And so you find his daughter's hairpiece and you give it to him, and he sort of has to confront kind of what he did, which he knows is like, I didn't protect her, I didn't wait for my family, and they didn't make it. I think I have that right?
Yeah. Because at first, I think he tells you he just like woke up here. And then when you give it to him, I think you get a little bit more of, I left them behind and I ran.
Yes.
So I have a question for you, because this is one of, now I look at it every single time. So, and again, Demon Souls has been spoiled for me. So the way you get that is you cut some chains. That was my joke about cutting the bridge. Like, you're cutting the chains here. It's the same mechanic. Did you notice the bodies the first time you played? Because her body is hanging there next to, I don't think it's his wife. It's like commoner's clothes. But there's two bodies. So this left tower, right? If it's just this like executioners stand down below in this pit, this beautiful church up on this wall, epic wall. This tower is burning, and there's this platform, and there's two bodies hanging down from it. Now I look for it, but I didn't notice at all the first time.
No, the first time I can say I didn't know what I was doing when I cut those chains. I didn't know what it was affecting. I didn't realize there were bodies hanging from the platform. No, I didn't see it.
Yeah. But you can see it as you first approach. And that, like, I mean, you see it from a distance. And then, like, knowing that now, it's just like, yeah, there's your daughter, you son of a gun.
Yeah.
It's one of my, like, when you put it together and then you see her, again, it's that subtle storytelling. And there's so many epic, there's so many really impressive set pieces. And that's one of them. This guy's daughter's body is just hanging right there, which is also fucking done in Dark Souls 3.
Yeah. And maybe, was there something like that in Dark Souls? I mean, there's probably something. I mean, in Bloodborne,
cut a body down?
Well, that's in the, oh man, what's the Painted World? You do that, but I don't know if it has like story driving it or if it's just bodies hanging off.
Okay.
But I don't think there's like a story that I can recall off the top of my head surrounding those bodies.
Both of these, the Dark Souls 3 one has a very explicit story, one of the best NPCs in Dark Souls 3, and then Stockpiles, and they're both awful. Stockpiles he's
could be
worse, but
yeah. So again, I if I can remember, like I said, there's a guy named VaatiVidya whose entire start was making a lot of videos explaining how sad Souls lore is, and it's oppressive how sad it can get. But so like I was saying, like, you as you make your way across the bridge, you're seeing more and more humans because they're the last line of defense in the outer palace to prevent you from getting into stage 2. Once you get both of the towers unlocked, you're also able to access the lock for the main portcullis. And when you open that up, you get this nice cutscene where you see something like sort of slightly out of focus that looks monstrous and blobbish, and all of a sudden like a massive spear lands right in front of the camera. And you get down there and you encounter 1-1's boss, which is the Phalanx. Now, they've sort of shown you again, because 1-1's teaching you got to think outside the box. You've encountered the individual like foot soldiers of this boss in that second tower going down. You know, there have been some on the platforms, and they want to show you like you got to get behind them because the front of it's just a massive shield, and they're
weak to fire.
And they're weak to fire. Those are the two things it teaches you. So you get to the Phalanx, and you sort of, and it's called that like in the most classical sense, because it's like these foot soldier blobs forming a wall of shields like the ancient Romans around the core boss. And the core boss is actually pretty easy, but it can keep spawning these sort of foot soldiers to keep protecting it. So by this point, you've probably accumulated 10, 15 firebombs. So you can just start, if you know to do it, you can just start going to town, and the foot soldiers burn off pretty quickly, granting you make a hole, so to speak. And you can continue to firebomb, or you can hit it with weapons. And it's not that challenging of a boss, but as you were saying, like, but it is a bit of a puzzle, which is something that I think Demon's Souls really leans into. And I don't know why they learned the lesson to get away from that, but I feel like they learned that lesson relatively quickly. Like Dark Souls kind of gets away from that.
I think what's interesting is the jump. I get it going all the way to Dark Souls 3 and Elden Ring. Because after Dark Souls 1, by the time Dark Souls 1 is out, the get good, like that's like commonplace by that point, right? And so then the expectation is we're just going to make things harder for you. And so Phalanx isn't hard because you need to get good. Phalanx is hard because you need to know not to swing R1 one-handed against a bunch of 100 shields.
Right.
Or you're going to plink off of it every time.
Yeah.
And so come up with a different way. And we've shown you this, so learn it. And so that's what makes Phalanx hard. I actually like Phalanx as a boss idea and the lore behind it quite a bit.
Yeah.
And so what's interesting is then you go into Dark Souls 1 and they do make, and maybe they just thought, well, our bosses were too easy. I don't know, but I know why Dark Souls 3 ends up where it is, because it's like, oh yeah, you want to get good? Okay, well, here's Sister Frida, and oh, guess what? It's not 2 phases. oh, sister, you beat Sister Frida? Well, let me show you fucking Melania. It's like, like that's the dialogue. Like, we're gonna challenge you, and I personally like that. But so I understand how it ends up there. I don't know what the shift is to Dark Souls 1, because what's the most puzzly boss of Dark Souls 1? Just
it's the tree that everybody hates, the Witch of Izalith, the tree where you got to go to the left and break the barrier, go to the right, break the barrier, then you go up to the middle.
That fight's so dumb. But it's dumb because it's easy. Like it's not as memorable. And Dark Souls 1, like I've not played ad nauseum just because like it's a great game. Don't get me wrong.
But, yeah.
Like, I would just rather play the other ones. So the puzzle fight is the one that's like the most disliked.
Yeah, and I think that's a shame, because I feel like in Demon's Souls there are aspects of the puzzle fight that I appreciate it. Like I think it makes them think a little bit about, because later games is just hard and fast, baby. And doesn't necessarily have to be a lot of thought to that, where the puzzle, maybe they make it too easy, or maybe, but like almost a lot of the bosses fall into that category, I think.
Well, and one of my favorite bosses is incredibly easy, and that's Fool's Idol, and we'll talk about it at some point, but that's very much a, God damn it, Dark Souls 3 does a Fool's Idol fight. It couldn't be any more obvious. I love it still.
Yorm.
Fucking Fool's Idol, it's just like the lore behind it and the puzzle of it's a very easy fight, and you can just fucking wreck her. I actually tried it for the first time without any grass and just about got it. It's like that's how he is. Like, I probably should have like gone and gotten some grass for this fight, but like let's just see what happens. Like I think like I kind of want to know what I'm going up against, and I was like, oh shit.
I'm fine.
Yeah, right. So,
whoops.
But I actually really like that fight.
Yeah,
quite a bit, and that's actually a trend through, so through World 1, we actually get 3 awesome boss fights in a row. And actually the lore, but they're all knights of King Orlan.
Right. They're
and I love all 3 of those fights, but they're not hard.
No. And I think the idea is, at least with the failings, I don't know if the other 2, but the bosses have been impacted by the fog, and this is the form. My understanding is this is the form they take. This is their monstrous form, like the Dranglings are former soldiers. This is what these guards, and I think this was, I don't know if this was in the original PlayStation 3 version, but I thought I saw a video somewhere online where they pointed out that either when you kill the boss or when the Archstone gets its like sparkle, you can see the silhouette for a brief second of their former self, which is what shows up later on in the level as red phantoms.
Yeah, because they will invade. You get to see them in their human form, which is cool.
Yeah.
And so what's interesting is Phalanx was actually an archer and would hide. She hid behind the shield wall.
Yes.
And I think shit like that. Sorry, shit like that just makes me I don't know why. It's like it's actually not that interesting lore, but I gobble that up, and it makes me like this really simple fight. I don't know, just like the idea of these 3 badass knights steeped in lore makes these fights 1, 2, 3, and you're probably not going to tackle them 1, 2, 3, just that much more impressive, and then just also adds to World 1 as a whole for me so far.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, is there something I'm forgetting? Is there anything else that we want to talk about with 1.1 that we're not? Because again, we're just talking about our thoughts.
We get the first. I mean, you mentioned it. We didn't really talk about the dragons a lot, but we do get the first dragon. Like, you step on the bridge and surprise, motherfucker! There's a dragon.
Yeah.
Oh, I think you mentioned this, but this level is how many? We get 2 shortcuts.
Yes. Oh,
yes.
1.1. Yes.
And so this also, from the get-go, sets the tone of this world is worth exploring, and we're going to reward you. And and that reward is you don't have to do all of that again. Now, what's interesting is like 3.1, I guess 3.1 has shortcuts, but like 3.2 has like no fucking shortcuts.
3, yeah, I don't think so. No, I don't think so.
No, I mean, you have to basically, I guess technically there is a shortcut, but the shortcut is like, okay, you clear all the level and you came back to where you started, and then now the path to the boss is open.
Yeah, okay.
And so that's kind of it, but like this is the most you get. 2.1 has some shortcuts, or all of 2 really has some shortcuts. So it's kind of more loopy on itself. But this kind of sets the tone on shortcuts.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a matter of opinion. I would argue that this might be the most effective and well integrated shortcuts. Like, it makes the sense within the architecture of the level. It's very useful. Where, like, if you think about what you're describing, the shortcuts of 2.1, it's just like these sort of weird, rotating elevators that you can turn on and skip. But it doesn't feel to me quite as, I don't know, really a part of the level the way like that first tower is, when you realize, oh shit, like, I can now skip a massive portion of what I've been fighting through. It just felt like the most naturally integrated into the level design, at least for me somehow.
No, I think as far as what I've seen so far, I think 3.1 does some cool shortcuts that we can talk about, but 3.1 is so short when you really think about it.
Yes, when you really think about it, yeah.
Whereas 1.1, and actually 1.1 is pretty fucking short too. I think what helps me appreciate 1.1, and I was kind of thinking about it, like 1.1, if you strip out all the lessons and just look at it as like just an enjoyable level, I do love it. And then I think it's capped off with an interesting, fun boss fight, if not incredibly easy one. But I like 1.1 as the connected world of Boletaria, which I think is one of, if I piece it all together like that, I think Boletaria stands really highly in terms of Dark Souls levels or Soulsborne levels.
Yeah, it comes like the Souls series, I think really, like I said, 1-1 I think is one of the best levels ever made, but it really comes out of the gate hot, and even aspects of its own game can't live up to sort of the lightning they've caught in the bottle that is World 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4.
I just want to talk about it. The like compared to 1, you work through this level and you open up the boss shortcut, and if you die to the boss, you just go right there. Whereas 2, the shortcut to the boss is there out the fucking get-go, and I don't understand how I can make that run 20 fucking times and still fuck it up and fall to my death. Like, now I have that path fucking memorized, and I will never forget it again, but what a bullshit path. And like, oh my, so it's like, this one, you worked for it, and 2 is like, do you want to skip the level? And then I was on top of 4-1, and there was a thing that said roll here. I even lined up my roll, and I rolled, and I rolled over the front wall, and I dropped down, and guess what? I'm at the fucking boss of 4-1, and I was like, okay. And that was 100% accidental. I don't know how much of 4-1 I skipped, but so I went to you essentially go, there's a red knight, you roll over this wall, you walk around, you fight a red knight, and you're at the boss. But like, I know there's this giant fucking monster in a courtyard I just fucking skipped, but it's like, so there's 2 of them that are just like, well, one shortcut is intentional, the other one is not, but they're not rewarding. And like, I understand one of them I cheated on, but the 2 shortcut is like, hey, you don't want to do that shit? Come over here. Yeah.
Right. And I think, to what I was saying, I feel like, you know, just to be like, well, yes, I studied, like the platonic ideal of like a Souls level, I think is 1-1, because like you do the shortcut, you unlock the thing, and then you end right where you started, and that's the boss. So when you die, you're 5 feet away, and it's just a straight shot. It's like just so efficient, and I feel like it's the epitome of what they were going for, and it's just too hard to accomplish every time.
Yeah, that boss run, don't get me wrong, if you're real fucking cocky and real fucking dumb, it's not a guaranteed, like, it's not the easiest boss run in the world, but you do have to at least walk by 6 dredgelings, one back at 2. But I think you're right, Art, because, and then you go back to my earlier point of, and we're going to reward you for coming back here. Then, I mean, I think actually all of them reward you for coming back. Do you go back to Undead Burg? Obviously, you go back to Firelink, which is really an extension of Undead Burg. But Central Yharnam, you absolutely go back to.
You can use Undead Burg to get up the ladders to Undead Parish, but eventually you unlock other ways to get to the elevator down to Firelink Shrine. You can use Undead Burg to get to where the first Hydra is, past who's the guy in the man, why am I blanking on the guy in the massive armor set at the bottom of the tower?
Oh,
Hovel, yeah. So you can, but again, there ends up being other ways to get there.
Yeah. Well, I'm just trying to, but my point is, there's beginning areas in all of the game, and you're right. I think I couldn't agree more that this is, I was going to say Dark Souls, but this is Demon Souls, right? Like, this in essence is what I think, I mean, obviously they were trying to accomplish all of them. Right. But compared to like the run back for 3-2, which is a bullshit boss, it's one of the most frustrating run backs I've ever experienced. It's one fucking guy. And he'll paralyze you, and you run up a very narrow staircase, and if that paralyzation goes wrong, and he immediately does an AoE attack, so you want to roll away. I've rolled off those stairs several times now.
Right.
And it's just like, and if you mistime your roll and you get the paralyzed, it's like, okay, so now I need to wait 10 seconds. Okay, he's going to grab me. Okay, all right, I'm up, and I rolled off the stairs. Okay, here we go again, back to the start of the level.
Yeah. Well, it also, let me, so a couple things. One, like, I think like one of the most clear examples of that, like, epitome of level design philosophy, I think is actually the Painted World, where once you do all the steps, it becomes a straight passage right down the middle to Priscilla, because you go here and then you unlock the first door, then you do a bunch of other stuff, you unlock the second door, and then what you're left with was just it's not like a straight shot. There's like a bunch of bullshit on the bridge to get there, but and of course, famously, like the Painted World was originally, I don't know if it was a proof of concept
demo,
for Dark,
right?
What's that?
Yeah, it was like a demo or like
but it was very much like, I think, in the mentality of Demon Souls. Like I think it was early, and so I think they were still having a lot of Demon Souls.
Well, and Undead Burg does it too, right? Undead Burg is very much like 1-1. There's a lot of side bullshit, but there's still a main path you need to work through. And I guess it's not quite as clean as Runback. But eventually, yeah. I mean, when From nails that, it feels so good.
Yeah.
No, what's funny is like my first real shortcut unlock, even though I played a little bit of Dark Souls first, was the elevator going down to the Father Gascoigne. There was a gate. You unlock a gate, but the elevator down to the Father Gascoigne fight, and I was just like, oh, cool.
Yep.
And it's just like, hell yes, this is awesome.
Yeah.
And when From does that well, it's just so satisfying.
And, really briefly, I mean, you mentioned like that narrow staircase in 3-2, but this is true of the whole thing. Like, I'm guessing you played a strength build, punch him in the mouth kind of thing.
On my main run through? Yeah, I'm strength faith.
Okay. So one of the things that everybody says is that there's a starting class that makes the game a lot easier.
Oh, I started as Royal.
Oh, you did?
I
Okay.
did, but I strength. Yeah. Right.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but yeah, I started as Royal.
And I will say, like, the Royal, if you lean into magic a little bit, it does make that a little bit more that 3-2 run you're talking about. But I just want to say, like, even like that class, I feel like is a little bit of like world building storytelling, right? Like, what's the easiest class? Well, it's the class that is the rich kid with all the advantages, right? Like, because he's royalty, he's going to have like the magic ring, and it's and so of course his way is going to be paved a little smoother. It's not like they called him the mage, they called him royalty. And in my mind, like, again, it was just one of those things where I was just like, these little touches. Like this time when I don't know how I'm going to integrate it into, I got some B-roll of 1-1 just in case we want to use it, or maybe I'll have it running on the side of it. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I chose the barbarian, and it's the first time I've ever tried it, because I was like, let me just go straight for as much strength as I could get without going with a knight. But again, it just struck me when I was looking at the royalty, I'm just like, this is clearly the easiest one. It's got like this ring that's worth 60 grand or whatever if Patches sells it to you, that regenerates your mana. Like it's like, you went to Phillips Exeter and then you went to Harvard of, like, let me help you with that. Right. Yeah. Like, but it makes sense, and it fits. And again, like, as hard as they want these games to be, they're just being like, look, man, you have this if you want it. Like, you can take out that red knight if you're careful, as with royalty and magic, it'll take forever. But if you want to do it, the other way is to cheese them off a stair. But you can do it. And then, and we haven't talked about it, but like, to get to Old King Durant, like, we haven't talked about all the NPCs. There's a couple of NPCs.
I was actually going to say, it's like, we should talk about Ostrava.
Because that's the main, there's like a Drengling merchant, he pops up here and there. It's not the biggest thing in the world. There's old King Doran who's hiding in the chapel. And he's one of those things where, like Havel, if you're really good at the game, you can get past the Red Knight, you can kill a Strava to get the key to the chapel, and you can go in there and you can fight old King Doran at like level and get his super weapon. You know, if you're good, the way you can get Havel's ring with like a thief dagger if you don't mind backstabbing him for an hour and a half. And then, you know, if you can get down into that section that's cut off by World Tendency, and just for the record, like in 1-1, I think either all black or all white opens it. There's
that's
like
what I've heard. I've not done it yet, but yeah.
Yeah, I've done it as white because if you beat enough bosses and you don't die in human form, it just goes white. It's very easy to get all white. But you do get a weapon though, because I like. Oh, you have to.
I started looking into it. And I was like, I want to know what's down there, and I don't mind spoiling stuff for that. But if you go all black, you get the weapon.
I was about to say that is the difference. Yeah, but there's Executioner Miranda, who's technically a Black Phantom, but she does have lore, for what it's worth.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like as you make your way past that fog gate into the inner workings of the outer palace, you know, to get to the second tower, you're going to run into a Strava of Boletaria, who it's kind of like, you know, I'm not going to tell you my real identity, but he's like, I think he's the son of the king, right? Like he's King Alant's son.
Right, and he's kind of, he's kind of worthless though. And he doesn't know, like, obviously he lived in the castle. Not in these works. Like,
right.
One, he keeps getting himself in a pickle. So also, this was another thing. Like, I knew what Ostrava gave you, and then I read that you could just kill him and not. So on my first playthrough, I just killed. And Ostrava's so nice, but I was like, fuck that. I'm not doing an escort mission.
Right.
An escort mission in Soulsborne sounds like literal hell.
He moves so
and
slowly.
Maybe it's easier, and I'm doing it on my new playthrough, like that we're doing for this stuff. It's like, all right, I'll keep Ostrava alive, but sorry I may have jumped the gun there a little bit, but I'm like, fuck it, I'm getting the key. I don't give a shit about this guy.
Yeah. And I think though, and I have to confess, like you can find lore videos. Prepare to Cry, I'm sure, has a Strava sequence, but I think eventually, you know, he gets to the end and kind of gives up, right? And like goes weird.
Oh, really?
I don't know. I just remember, like, you encounter him in 1 and you got to protect him, and it's an escort mission, but if you just run and clear the whole level and outpace him, he's fine. And you encounter him in 2, and I think it's a similar thing. And then at some point...
But now you have dogs in 2.
Yeah. He gets trapped, and and he's sort of like the predecessor to the Onion Knight.
A little bit.
Where he keeps getting jammed up, and you keep helping him. And
not near as cool.
No, not as good. And I think at the end, he's just like, thanks, man, but I think I'm kind of useless. And he gives you the key. And I don't know what happened. Like, I think he ends up turning into a Red Phantom in 1. I don't know what happens in 1.4, maybe. Like, but it's not a happy ending.
What the fuck?
What's that?
I said, what the fuck? I think I'm just going to kill him again.
Yeah, you're saving him a lot of misery, but I think it's like the original like Onion Knight where he realizes like, oh, okay, and it turns him. I could have that completely wrong, but that's my recollection is after a while of helping him, he just, you know, can't hack it. But yeah, so he's the way to get into Old King Doran, into that castle, and then again, like, I don't know if Old King Doran is the father of Alant or just the former king, but he's basically like, hey, if you prove your mettle, I'll give you like a weapon. So the interesting thing about that is that seems like he'd be, by doing that, it feels like he's working against Alant. Like if they're trying to protect the king, he shouldn't help you. And he helps you if you prove you've got the right stuff. I don't know if it's because he thinks you're going to help protect the king, so he gives you the weapon.
Is the prove? I don't know. That I don't know. That I'm not... One, I haven't gone up to him yet. Because he's the deal, like, if you get him with 75%, it's good, but then you can keep going to kill him. Is that how he works?
I think so. Something like that, yeah. Yeah, but I don't think you have to kill him.
There's a threshold at some point where, like, okay, you got me.
Right.
But you can keep going on him. And so maybe the first part is that 75%. I don't know.
I think that's correct. And if you do it, I think he gives you something called the Demon Brant sword. And Or maybe it's meant to like kill the old one. I don't know what it is, but like it's half of a sword. The other half you get at the end of the game, and it becomes like a weapon you can use in New Game Plus. But I think there's something about just the demon brand that makes it like a pretty, like there's some weird, it used to be like a weird thing where if like you jacked your luck up, you could do like 12,000 points of damage or something. I don't know if it's the demon brand that makes that possible. But anyway, so it's a really good sword. And if you're really skilled at the game and you have patience, you can get it almost right away. But
now wait a second.
Am I getting it wrong?
So just humor me as someone who doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
You get the mausoleum key. What's
from Strava,
old King Duran's relationship to old King Alon?
Well, I don't. That's what I don't know.
Is that his dad?
That's what I was trying to figure out. Like, are they father son, and like he's the old guard, and he's now like the grandfather that needs something to. I don't honestly know. Now, is it old King Alon?
Old Duran was the founder of Boletaria,
mm-hmm.
and then Alon locks him away. But he's not. That's okay. I'm going to quit reading about Alon because I think there's stuff I don't want to have spoiled yet.
Okay.
But
so maybe that's what was happening.
Maybe. Huh. That's interesting because I have not. I know about the 75%. But I know what he looks like and stuff, but I don't, I haven't done it yet. Even though I have the key, I've not gone into old King Duran.
Right. And again, like, I'm sure there's tons of lords of it. That's why, like, it's hard to know exactly what to do here, because the beautiful thing about the Souls games is they've literally inspired multiple YouTube careers and podcasting careers discussing lore, explaining the story, going into NPC backgrounds. So like we can have our own spin on it, but I don't know if there's any point to us being like your one-stop shop for all the lore detail or like pro tips.
No, most of it will probably come about by me asking you questions.
Potentially, yeah.
I mean, that's we're not going to cover anything new, but I'm also going to ask you questions because like this is my first time. Like 1-1 is clear enough, and I remember being intrigued by phalanx and like someone correcting someone. Maybe it was Bonfireside Chat, like, oh, it's actually a she. I was like, oh, that's really cool. And then I think that led to like reading about the knights. But like now I'm getting to the point like it's all fresh, which is nice. It's like I'm exploring a brand new game, which is great.
Yeah, and I'll say like, you know, part of why I think you and I were, but like. Again, like, even though like you could argue that a lot of in various forms and different ways it's all probably been covered, you know, like nothing new under the sun. But
yeah, we're not, you are not the first one, and I am not the first one to, I would never have had the thought that 1-1 is a training ground.
Right.
But once you see it, it's so clear and it's so brilliant. But I think I do enjoy waxing about it. Like I think it's so impressive that it elevates an already awesome level and world to just that much more.
Yes.
There's so many cool set pieces in this world coming up. I was just thinking about like, I was about to say, oh, and then the fat officials was like, oh, we don't get the fat officials until 1-2. And then like that just becomes a running trope for the
But what I'll say, the reason why I think these games are worth discuss. Like anybody who wants to discuss these games should discuss them, because I think there's so much there and they're so rich. And then I think, and I won't speak for you, but I'll say for me, like we are, and we're going to recount this as we get to the closing, but you know, we're obviously a tabletop RPG channel. And the things that this game inspires me to think about are things that I think about a lot when I'm running shit. And so like, even though we might not always expressly tie everything together, I can tell you, like, all my dumb CRPG runs, the Let's Plays of, like, Lord of the Rings or Darklands or the Souls games I've recorded, or talking about this with you for Bonfire Walk with me. For me, the reason why I do it, I feel it's all relevant to the core of the channel, for me. And so that's why none of this feels frivolous or like, oh, they're off topic, because even if I don't expressly tie it in, I can tell you a lot of this stuff inspires, or vice versa. The reason why I was so gripped by Demon Souls might have also been where I came from with RPGs when I was young.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And then there will be one, we almost played Morkborg, the Bloodborne, last week before Patrick and I but the good news about that is now that's reserved for a future date. Yeah. And I'm not going to invent anything new. We're doing Father Gascoigne, because the more I think about it, it's like, fuck it, that's just a good adventure for an RPG. Like, yeah, hey, this little girl lost her dad, and let me show you how fucked up that's going to end up. And it's like, yeah, that works. It turns out that works as an RPG. Yeah. And it's like, there's so many, just like the Vile Bloods and fucking Canehurst. Yeah, that's a fucking sick RPG setting. Like, yeah. Fucking Cthulhu vampires, sure. Let's fucking go. Yeah. A queen who can't die, and God, it's like there's so much that it's like I would like to. I was actually, that's funny. Another day I was thinking about, like, man, 2-1, just all of 2-1. I think you called World 2 Mines of Moria. Like,
I might have. Well, yeah, because the old one, like, they went too deep.
Yeah, we go too deep. Well, guess what? That's a fucking cool. I was like, actually, that really works on, like, if I need a throwaway adventure for Symbarome that doesn't apply into the Ashes of the Twilight Flyers, like, big overarching story, like, oh, let's do something fun in Symbarome. That screams Symbarome to me. Yeah. But whatever's at the base of those mines can be whatever the fuck we want because it's Symbarome. Yeah. And I was like, oh shit, like, mine exploring in Symbarome speaks to me, and it would just be World 2.
Let me just say, not to like push you in a direction, but 2 words: key party. Get down there. It's just a Connecticut suburb orgy. Just all boom right there. Your laughter tells me you're in. Okay, good.
But sure, fine. That's the final payoff. But you have to. I'm going to make the run back. Somehow I'm going to incorporate the run back.
Exactly.
But it's going to be 30 consecutive dex checks, and if you fail one, you fall to your death.
Exactly. Oh man. So,
well, we could do this dungeon crawl, or you can take this shortcut. But guess what? I will kill your character.
It's all or nothing.
Oh, look, you landed on the landing, and there's nowhere for you to go. Your only option is to sit there and starve or fall to your death.
That there is, just so you know, people, there is one landing you just can't get off of, except to die.
Man, aren't Soulsborne games great?
Shut it down.
I love platforming in these games.
You know what? Let's make this an Elder Scrolls thing. Those are easier. Skyrim, just do that for 45 years.
It's so interesting. Like, I had moments with I think I was a little too young or not fantasy nerdy enough to appreciate Oblivion. But a lot of Skyrim, never beat Skyrim, but a lot of Fallout 3 and Fallout 3 New Vegas. But even those games, when I say I did a lot of them, nothing has gripped me. Tomb Raider gripped me in a way that I feel like the Mission Impossible movies grip you.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, because you're a big Mission Impossible fan, right?
Yeah. Number 2, best one. Just kidding.
Like, I love the remakes. Huge fan. Before I started really getting into Soulsborne, the first Tomb Raider remake was my favorite game of all time, and it's probably number 3. But it's only in the sense that it's an awesome action flick.
Yeah.
But you know what I really want to do? You know what my dream is now, and I'm dead serious about this. Whatever is next from FromSoft, I want to be on the ground floor with you so we can make our own. Because I was so late to Elden Ring.
Yeah.
That I wasn't able to. I was able to explore that world on my own, but the answers were there when I got like, who's this guy? Well, I just go check the wiki.
Right.
Because I do like reading item descriptions, especially in like Bloodborne and stuff. Like I like finding that stuff on my own, but also I have kids and I need to respect my time. So it's just like,
yeah,
I have no problem looking up things as long as the fight is not spoiled for me and the sense of exploration is not gone. I don't mind like spoiling like lore stuff for me. But like now I was thinking about this, like, man, it'd be like, what if we were on the ground floor of this and just like exploring Demon Souls alone? It's like, by the way, did you see those hanging bodies? And do you know you can go down to the execution pit? Like that is one thing that I'm missing.
Right. And honestly, like I kind of missed it too. And this is sort of, it's going to tie in beautifully. It's sort of like when I watched Twin Peaks: The Return.
Yeah.
You ready for this?
Yeah.
Because I had no one to watch it with. Like I barely knew anybody. There were a few people online that and so we would like, oh my God, did you, but there was nobody, there was no like, so the idea that you just put out there, like when Elden Ring 2 hits and we just go for it and they're like, hey, let's check in like with a Bonfire walk with me. And and compare notes and realize that each of us probably missed half the game. And, you know, there's probably so much more we didn't even realize. I think that'd be amazing.
It'd be to share that kind of like, look at this. Have you experienced this? Would be really impressive. I do hope it's something smaller.
Yeah.
Like I have no doubt with the success, like there's going to be something like Elden Ring 2. But I would just love another something smaller scale.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll ever do it. I think it's forever tainted as we are going to challenge you for the rest of your lives. We have this reputation of being the hardest games out there, and we need to maintain it. And so I think the transition to harder, faster, longer, throbbing boss fights, you've unleashed that cage, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like, what's interesting is it's kind of like Magic the Gathering. When you introduce an overpowered card and it becomes a meta, then you have to reduce, like there's so much power creep that FromSoft has power crept themselves. I would love it if they reverted. They have power crept themselves away from Demon Souls.
Yeah.
For good or bad. I mean, so my favorite fights are the fucking Sister Frida. I don't know if anything will ever top that. There's actually, I need to finish the Bloodborne DLC, my dirty little secret. And I've heard there's fights in there that at some point we'll talk about times we almost quit Soulsborne, and the Bloodborne DLC is actually one of them. So surprisingly, because of a boss. So
yeah.
Anyways, I just another like I don't know if they would ever do it, like go backwards, but that'd be so cool. But there's no doubt that From Software games have been power crept.
Yes. Yeah.
And when you go back to Demon Souls, it's humbling. The game really gets me, but really what's getting me is the level and the basic enemies.
Right.
I mean, there's some bosses. Fuck man-eaters. God damn it, I hate that fight. And I just died to the stupidest bullshit. Like, I have this guy to rights, and then I fucking fall off the bridge. It's God damn it.
Yeah, it's a little merciless. Later games, honestly, they do respect your time in weird ways. Elden Ring, even though the fights are all fast and punch you in the face, like they make getting back to the fight quick. They make so many things easy, so you can learn the fight. So you really spend the time, being able to focus on the thing you need to learn.
What's interesting is I still have one Last Frontier, because my only experience with it is some of your videos, and that's Dark Souls 2. So if I really wanted that exploration again for real, and that's why I'm kind of glad I'm at the point where I'm at in Demon Souls, because it is I have found a very spoiler-free kind of just pathway.
Right.
So, for example, it indicates things like, make sure you get the fat official's clothes.
Right.
And that I'm appreciative, and I really like that. So it's like, I am getting that sense of exploration in these later parts, because I haven't spoiled near as much of it for me.
Nice.
So,
Demon Souls, we've been talking about it. Dark Souls 2 is not my favorite, but as a skilled player, it probably won't punish you terribly. Like, I think you'll be able to get through large chunks of it without too much friction. I mean, it's still a Souls game, but there are things that are interesting, or you just go watch VaatiVidya lore videos and get the synopsis, I guess. But there are things, I don't love Dark Souls 2 in a lot of different ways, but there are things about it that are interesting and well done. Just not the gameplay. I think I've pieced
enough together that I think it would still be worth my time if I get there. The problem is if 3 of the 5 other games are in my top 5 of all time, why don't I just replay them? Because I think Demon Souls is incredibly replayable.
Yes.
Just from what I've seen so far, because it's so short.
Yep.
And you can just do it. Like the commitment, whereas the commitment to like Dark Souls 3, I have a character that is essentially, I would say, platinum the game, but there's the faction shit that I'm never gonna farm. Right. But I have everything, and like that allows me to like re-roll and go a caster. But it's like, man, a pyromancer in Dark Souls 3 really only gets good later. Do I really like? That's a commitment. Whereas I feel like if I'm going for a build in Demon Souls, like, yeah, maybe I don't get one of the boss upgrades, but I feel like I have a viable, interesting game in front of me right out the get-go with anything I want to do.
Yeah.
At least that's what it feels like. I've not beaten the game, but that's like what it feels like to me right now.
Yeah, and just from a numbers perspective, and part of it might have been skill. Like, I've obviously replayed. I've replayed. Dark Souls 1 is on the channel, but I've also like done.
I love your Dark Souls 1 replay, by the way. It's awesome.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. But I've also done a Dark Souls replay where it's like in like 6-hour chunks or wherever. I'm just like, fuck it. Like,
yep.
I'm just gonna see how long it takes me to beat this weekend. And,
those were fun too.
And I had a lot of fun, and I would chat with people and whatever. And I did some of it on our Discord channel, and some people from the Discord channel jumped in. We were chatting while we played, and it took me about 12 hours. I could probably get that down a little bit. Like a 10-hour, 11-hour game is, you can beat that in a weekend. Like Demon Souls, I can beat in a weekend. You know, like it makes it very Elden Ring or Dark Souls 3. I replayed it when you were streaming it a little bit with the DLC. It took me about 30 hours, which is not 120 like my first one, but it's not like I can do it in a weekend and move on. Like I can get that taste, beat it, and get satisfied, like a good plate of wings, and then, you know, keep going, you know. Anyway, and Elden Ring, you know, forget about it. I'm sure there's a way you could like sort of, what's the point? Like, Elden Ring is going to be a tricky one. I don't know if I'll ever replay Elden Ring without like introducing some wrinkle like the co-op mod or something, because like the fun of it was exploring in a different way than you do, you know, in any other. And I don't know if you can't like, you know, you can't get that first time back. And I don't know.
I have a point that I have found in Elden Ring. I've rerolled so many characters, and this is how I ended up at Demon Souls. Really, is I was like, what should I play? All right, let me do Bloodborne. I cleared a chunk of Bloodborne. It's like, let me do something else, and then I fired up Elden Ring, and I get to the second the magic area. Why can't I?
I know what you mean.
Yeah, I get there and I beat that boss. And that's an amazing boss fight. And then it opens up too much for me. And it's like, oh, I gotta go do the fucking incest manor murder mansion. Oh, I gotta go do Radigan. I gotta go do the festival. Like, there's a linear path. And I know you could do those things earlier, but there's a linear path up until... I can't believe I can't think of her name.
Rihanna?
Something like whatever that. It is. The mage fight.
The Academy or whatever.
I like that fight. Yeah, Academy. Thank you. And then it's just too vast. And I don't, it's a real hurdle for me to keep wanting to go past that point.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's just, I mean, that's a downside. And so that's honestly why I ended up at Demon Souls, because like, well, I don't really want to do all this again.
Well, I mean, Elden Ring's loss is Demon Souls' gain, and
Yeah.
That led to tonight. Is there anything else that we want to talk about with 1-1? Believe it or not, we're talking about 1-1 Demon Souls.
But it just shows like how much we can still talk about.
Yeah.
And I do look forward to whatever this turns into, if this is just like us spot checking random worlds, or if this is us playing from Demon Souls chronologically through Elden Ring, one section at a time. And so be it. I'm here for it. It's really cool to geek out about the same things. And what's interesting is, my live streams only existed as live streams. There's no captures that people can go rewatch. We play so differently and walk out with the exact same love for this game.
Yeah.
One hell for me in Soulsborne games is pulling out my bow. And like, you have no hesitations for it. You're like, I'm at the point in your playthrough where you're like, yeah, I wasn't digging the mage or whatever, so I've started leaning more into the bow, and I'm just like, oh god.
Oh, you're what are you doing?
Right.
That's disgusting.
But I think that's amazing. Like, we find our own satisfaction. I love using big dumbass things, and you're talking about how slow the claymore is. And I just got the meat cleaver, which is just like fucking swinging a piece of sheet metal. It's just like, what the fuck is this? So. But we both, I don't know. I think that's really cool. I mean, my fucking approach to Elden Ring was the most satisfying Oonga. And my favorite Dark Souls run was when I just did a poise run and just fucking smashed everything. It breaks the game, but it's so fun.
Wait, what was this one?
And that's like, what?
What was the poise run? What?
In Dark Souls, if you go like poise,
yes,
poise strength, and just fight like 3 kings, you just walk into and just fucking bonk, 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 and it's done.
Yes, yeah.
Oh god,
that's Dark Souls 3 games, right?
No, Dark Souls.
Dark Souls. You can. Do I need to play Dark Souls? Like, I know I'm getting old.
Doesn't endurance raise your poise?
Yes. I'm sorry. That's yes. I was trying to.
Yeah, because Dark Souls 3 doesn't have poise, which
that's what it is.
Big disappointment. Yeah. Right. I'm almost certain about that. Right.
Yes. Yeah. I think you're right. Yeah. Because then you go to the 4 kings and it's just like you stand there, get punched in the face, but you kill them so fast it doesn't matter. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Like they can't do shit to you, so you just go strength poison.
Yes. That's what. Okay. Now I've got the thread. All right. All right.
So I like that. I like that you have a very different experience, and I get to I will say this, by the way, folks. When I replay Bloodborne, I put on EpicNameBro's playthrough of it. I think it's, from a lore perspective, it's really impressive. He has so much knowledge about the game. I wish he had it for every other game, but I think he's soured on the series, which is too bad. I think there's other commentators that sour on the series as it goes on, and it's kind of disappointing.
Yeah.
But your Elden Ring playthrough is like the new... I mean, not Elden... Your Elden Ring playthrough is great as well. The Demon Souls one is like my background.
I appreciate that.
And I really like it. Like, I like playing games that way, and it's nice. So it's good. It's good stuff, folks.
I definitely will not have EpicNameBro's insight, but I make my way through them.
Well, you did on Elden Ring. I mean, the Elden Ring stuff, because that's why I had so I just binged Elden Ring, and you were on in the background while I binged Elden Ring.
Oh, nice.
And that was cool. So, and now you're doing stuff. I'll probably stop at your 1-3 video, because again, you're doing things that I had done, and your World 4 exploration is your 4-2 is just you dying for an hour straight, and your 4-1 is lost, so it didn't spoil anything. Right.
And then I can't believe I lost too. Anyway, that was just souls.
I know I was really long-winded tonight, but it's just I get so excited about it. So thanks for the suggestion on this. I had a blast
and
talking about this game I'm experiencing live is really cool.
Yeah. And just and just to sort of again explain a little bit how the sausage gets made. We really want to have things to go to. It's really hard for all 3 of us to always be together on the mics. Mm-hmm. And so I really hope this is one of those things that when Patrick can't be here, we can pick this up and we keep talking about this series, among other things. But I hope this is something that never completely trickles away.
In 3 weeks, we'll be talking about why you should not use the shield in Bloodborne.
And I'll say, you son of a bitch. That game mocks me for my play style. How dare you? So is that covered? Did we do it?
I think we more than covered it. Again, thanks for letting me geek out.
And thank you.
If you check this out, I hope you enjoyed it. I mean, it's just, I understand we're just, like Art said, we're just two white dudes just geeking out about something we love, but that's why we made this channel. I mean,
the whole thing.
It's a fucking Twin Peaks inspired RPG channel. Like, it's just like, our RPGs, I was talking about this with Patrick, and I know we're running late, but the other night we were just hanging out. Like, to me, this is the exact same as just like going to the bar. Like, I went to the bar Wednesday night tonight, and instead of like watching, and I love sports, like instead of just like watching the Royals tonight, I just like bullshit at the virtual bar about something incredibly nerdy, and for whatever reason, we're white and middle-aged and feel like we need to share it with the world.
I think I posted in the Discord, I don't know if you saw it, but there was a really good Onion article headline that I just saw, which is like, said 250 million Americans still need guests for this week's podcast. Just like, I know that. But I will say, like, the thing I've always wanted to accomplish with this channel, and I don't know if we've done it, but like, and it's something you don't get with like Critical Role, because there's a very well staged production. I was hoping this channel would be like, hey, you're hanging out with us at the table. You know, whether it's while we're role playing or stuff like this, you know, and I hope that if you're a fan of Souls and you're not just looking for a checklist of what to do or lore dumps, but I hope you get the sense that you're hanging out with a couple guys who genuinely fucking love these games. And don't hold it
up to impossible standards and allow us, at least me, to really love Dark Souls 3.
Yeah, I genuinely think you're an animal for thinking. No, I think Dark Souls 3 is really good. And we'll get there someday, I hope. So
we better. That's where this is. This is the long play. Like,
yes.
All right, I'm going to start talking about with Art, and then we're going to get on the podcast, and I'm going to make him see the light. You know what? I say that as a joke because, like, appreciate and love these games at your own.
Right.
I also see the problems with Dark Souls 3.
Mm-hmm.
I do think everything is derivative. To tie this all together, everything is derivative to Demon Souls. There's so many links. This fight is like this fight. This fight is like this fight. This fight is like this fight. It all goes back to Demon Souls.
Yeah. So it's good that we are giving it a go. So I think with that, should we wrap it up? Should we call it?
Yeah, we should wrap it up. All right.
Well, so anyway, thank you to everybody who checked this out. We really appreciate it. If you're watching it, it's our usual spiel. That means you found our YouTube channel. Like and subscribe if that's your thing. There are definitely audio versions of a lot of what we do. There will be an audio version of this. I don't, like I said, I have B-roll footage. I don't know what I'll do with it. That won't play in audio, obviously, but mainly we are a tabletop RPG actual play channel. And you can check out all the systems that we've played. There's audio versions of those as well if you want to listen to it. At the time of this recording, we've currently got some Symbaroum going. We've dabbled a little into Rosewood Abbey, so we're going to try and get both of those up and running or completed. And on the solo table for when we need to fill in a week here and there, we've got Hostile Solo from Zozer Games, which is like a Traveler derivative. Not derivative is the wrong word, but you know what I mean. So anyway, thank you to everybody who checked this out. Matt, thank you for jumping on and just mentally gymnasticking our way through this discussion about something that I really love. So I appreciate that. So anyway, thanks to everybody, and we'll talk soon. Take care. The in-session music was provided by Tabletop RPG Music and composed by Ian Fisher. You can find the Patreon at www.patreon.com/tabletop RPG music. That's all one word.